So can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, so good day, and please you can comment on the chat box. Any question that as time goes on, we'll just keep interacting. So today we are going to be looking. Can you hear me? Please, if you can hear me, just type in the chat box that you can hear me and you can see my slide. If you can hear me and see slide, please respond on the chat box. Okay, I can hear you and see your slide. Okay, thank you. So today we're going to be looking at audit, laboratory audit and technique. So for those of us that are just joining the QMS class, you have your classes that will say come up. So you just take it gradually. For those of us that have been doing some courses, This life tag is majorly for you. Those that are just joining for this month. You start with the QMS Module 1. So today we're going to be looking at laboratory audit and technique. So now the objective is to develop technical competence for personnel on audit. Now to develop a process to prepare the lab and the staff for an external audit. Now to plan and manage an internal audit exercise. Now discuss how to use the result or reports from the audit for quality improvement. Then also to give the basic training for laboratory internal auditor. So introduction to laboratory audit, this is just an introduction. Now, audit is an important element of the 12 quality system essential. Okay, thank you, Chidima. So audit is an important element of the 12 quality system essential. So it is the means of determining the effectiveness of the quality management system. So why do we do audit? To know the effectiveness of the QMS through an internal or an external audit. It's a form of evaluation to know the performance of the EQA programs and every other thing that is associated to the quality management system. Now, International Organization for Standardization uses the term audit for assessment. So in this course, we can use it interchangeably. So when you hear audit, you hear assessment, it means the same thing when it comes to what we are dealing with today. So this is 12 quality tests are essential. So organization, personnel, equipment, purchase and inventory, process control, information management, document and record, occurrence management. And today we are looking at assessment. So audit is part of what? Assessment. Process improvement, customer service, facility, and safety. Now, the question is, what is audit? Now, an organization, a laboratory audit can be defined as a systematic and objective examination of some parts or sometimes all of the QMS to demonstrate or determine
I can't hear anymore, sir.
Dr. Aliu, we can't hear you anymore.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry, the slide when that comes up. So what the audit do is to assess the laboratory performance in compliance to a set standard. And that is what an audit is, to show that okay, this organization, this lab is moving in accordance to the set standard. Now, this is very, very important as we go on. So in other words, it is a systematic process of determining if the laboratory is meeting the regulatory, accrediting, and the customer's requirements. So we're trying to assess using a systematic and objective examination. Objective examination is evidence-based examination of some part or whole. So that means you can audit a part of the QMS, or you can audit the whole part of the QMS. So that's what that slide is actually talking about. Now, the next is so on the other hand, the ISO defines audit as a systematic, independent, and documented process of obtaining evidence and evaluating the evidence objectively to determine the extent to which the required criteria is fulfilled or are fulfilled, rather. So generally, the lab is very familiar with the word assessment process. So, okay, we are doing all this, we are doing it. At most, we have some kind of assessment, either by internally or externally, as you work within the lab space or within the healthcare space. Okay, let me try to share the slide. Okay. So I guess you can see my slide now. So, as we were discussing, so the laboratory are generally very familiar with the word assessment. We have one form of audit or the audit. We have one form of audit or the other as you work with this. Audit is able to establish whether all the activities that affect the quality are being carried out or not. So there's what we call audit evidence. This is defined as the record, statement, or fact or other information which are relevant to the audit criteria and verifiable. So all these are audit evidence. So when I say if you have an evidence, okay, so okay, you do your daily quality control. What is the evidence that you are doing your daily control? So one of the evidence that you are doing your daily control is the records. So you must do your QC record. So that is an evidence that you are doing a daily control. If you say, okay, we are doing daily quality control, but we don't record it. It shows that you are not, because there is no evidence. Now, in audit assessment, there is something we normally say as auditor. Say in God we trust, in every other person we audit.
Sir,
In
this thing is
God,
echoing. The
please
voice
just
is echoing.
you sort that out. Just listen as much as you can. Please. It's network issue. So we said in God we trust, in every other person we audit. So as I'm saying, we said in God we trust, in every other person we audit. Now, so audit evidence is defined as the record, statement, or fact, or other information which are relevant to the audit criteria and are also verifiable. So what are the basis of audit? The first basis of audit is an accepted standard. Whether it's an international standard, whether it's a national standard, whether it's a local standard for accrediting organization, but there must be a standard. You don't audit based on wish or based on what you know. You audit based on a particular standard. Are you using a WHO standard? Are you using MLSCN? Are you using ISO 151? Are you using? There must be a particular accepted standard. In that respect, audit is interrelated to norms and accreditation. So audit criteria are policies, procedures, or requirements. Now, what's the basis of audit? In auditing, someone is asking the question, okay, what procedure, what process are being followed in this lab? What is being done? Do the current procedure or process comply with the written policies or procedure? And in fact, are there written or documented policies and procedure as regarding, let's say, for example, now you say, okay, you send a sample to a particular lab, a particular organization. Now, the auditor can ask him, okay, where is the policy showing that, where is the procedure for you referring this sample to that lab? Or where is the service level agreement? Where are the policies? You say you don't have, we just send the samples to that lab. It shows that is not conformity. It shows that is not properly being done. So do written policies and procedure comply with the standard? Now you have a procedure now, you have a policy, but does that policy comply with the standard? Because you can do a policy and a procedure that is not complying with the set standard, with the regulation and the requirement. So if you have that, if your document doesn't have an issue, that is also a non-conformity. Audit is set to answer all these questions and even more. Why do we perform audit? Audit is performed in order to learn or to know where the laboratory is in terms of quality management. That's why if you consult me for a process improvement or you consult me for an accreditation, the first thing I do is to do a baseline audit because I want to know where you are in terms of the quality management. Some people say, okay, we have this, we have that, we have machine, we have equipment. I want to know where you are in terms of quality management, in terms of quality management system. So laboratory audit performs in order to learn or know where the organization is in terms of the quality management. So it measures gaps in the quality system. In other words, it provides information for planning, implementation, quality system monitoring, quality standard, continuous improvement in the quality system. So what am I trying to say here is that when you do an audit, you are able to measure the gaps that are there. So those gaps can be fixed. Those gaps can form as a means of what? Process improvement. Those gaps can be formed as a means of implementing and planning. So what I do is that once I do that audit and assessment, it helps me to do a project plan for the organization. So this is where you are in terms of quality. This is what you need, and this is where you need to be, and this is how you need to get there. So because if you are to audit a lab that has 5-star and a lab that has 0-star, the work effort you are going to put in to get them to a particular level is going to be different. So that's why audit measure gaps in the system, provide information for also planning, implementation of quality system. It also helps you to know monitoring of quality standard and continuous improvement, and to know how you are satisfying your patient, your client, your customer. What's the purpose of audit? To provide assurance that the quality system fits appropriately into the clinical governance and improvement processes. Now, the purpose of audit is to increase the awareness of quality and the quality standard within the practitioner, within the facility. So it's to improve ownership of the QMS among staff, to provide information for forward planning for the laboratory, to ensure that the QMS is effectively implemented and maintained. It also helps to prepare for external audits such as accreditation, assessment, and etc. These are many reasons why audit is being done. It helps to provide opportunity for continuous education and continuous learning. But when you're audited and at the end of the day, let's say it was discovered that it was personnel issues, when you are trying to clear it will help you to learn what needs to be done. It helps to carry out preventive and corrective actions to help to ensure compliance with organization with required with regulatory requirements. It will help you to ensure compliance of the ISO 15189 standard and other certification and accreditation requirements. It will help you. It looks for outstanding emphasis on customer satisfaction, to look for opportunities of improvement, OFI. So when audits are done, it helps to look at the customer satisfaction and also look for opportunities of improvement. It's to learn where we are in terms of what? Quality management system. Am I communicating? If you get that, can you type on the chat box? You get that? Did you get that? So if you have any question, yes, okay. If you have any question, just pen down the question, and during the course of the program, we are going to answer this question. But you can also type the question in the chat box if you have a question. Now let's look at type of audit. Now we have internal audit and we have internal audit. So an assessment that laboratory utilizes their own staff working in one area to audit another area of the lab is called an internal audit. Let's say, for example, now someone who is working in chemistry lab is auditing hematology lab. That is an internal audit. Or let's say you have 3 branches, one in Lagos, one in Abuja. Somebody is moving from the Abuja branch to audit Lagos branch. It's also part of an internal audit. This provides information for quickly and easily on how the laboratory is performing and whether it is in compliance with the policy requirement. The quality manager is responsible for scheduling, recording, and coordinating audits within the labs, as well as ensuring that there's corrective and preventive action required as a result of audit and satisfactory discharge. So if you work in an organization and work, you don't have a QA manager or quality officer, you don't have quality. It's like it's like you having because he or she is in charge to ensure audit and assessment is being done. Whether the person is doubling up and all those things, a lot of facilities will say, okay, we do quality. But the question is that even the quality officer, so how do you now claim that you are using so quality when you don't even have the designated personnel? So the quality manager is responsible for scheduling, recording, coordinating audits within the laboratory, as well as ensuring that any corrective or preventive action required as a result of an audit is satisfactorily discharged. So what is an external audit? We talked about internal audit. External audit is conducted by a group of agencies from outside the laboratory. They are called external audit. So let's say, for example, as I am, if you engage me and I come to your facility to do an audit, that is an external audit because I'm not part of your system. Let's say, for example, MLSCN came, ISO people, or other accrediting bodies come, that's an external audit. Let's say, for example, somebody wants to use your facility and they want to do one or two things and needs to audit your facility before those SLAs and several levels agreement are signed. That is an example of what? An external audit. They can include assessment for the purpose of accreditation, certification, licensure, or for the purpose of doing business. In conducting external audit, the assessor or the auditor will verify that the laboratory policy process and procedure are documented and comply with the designated standard. Different standards can be used for assessment depending on what you are assessing and who is assessing it, whether local or international. The laboratory manager must demonstrate to the assessment team or the auditors. When we talk about assessment team, we mean auditors, that all the requirements are laid down in the standard are being followed. So you have to prove them. You know, there are some persons that I have it before, it's not a property. Oh, we used to do it. Oh, we used to do it. You know, when you go to some facility, you hear them say, oh man, oh, we used to do it, and we did it. Those things are not. So you must prove with lay down audit evidence that you are following that particular standard. What are other forms of audit? Please look at it on the screen. Other forms of audit include intrinsic audit. This is an external audit performed on the laboratory by a customer or inspection body. So somebody wants to, like all those what FEMA does in Lagos, HHSS does in Abuja. Those are examples of extrinsic audit. Service quality audit, an independent examination of a service to verify that it meets the specification. That's a service audit level. Let's say, for example, now, you have a particular service you are rendering to them. Let's say you are running a particular service. They can come and audit that aspect of that service you are rendering to them to know if it meets their specification. Let's say, for example, your lab is involved in clinical trials. So they will audit you based on the clinical trial. They won't audit you based on what that stuff. So clinical audit aim to improve patient care and outcome, wider scope than just the laboratory. Adequacy audit, examine the QMS are documented in quality manual and supportive examination. Compliance audit, customer audit of suppliers. Let's say you have suppliers and you get into, you can organize an audit. So no, let's say, for example, they are supplying some cold chains. But you want to know whether these people, their cold chains are doing, their temperature, is it well verified? Are they calibrated, the equipment and the rest? So those are examples of customer audit of suppliers. Now, what are the methods of audit? The types of audit are different from the method of audit. If you have ever audited a lab before, can you type on the chat box? If you have ever audited an organization, can you just type? Let me see. If you have audited, if you have not, just type no. If you have audited a lab before, type yes. If you have not audited, no. No. Okay. No. Okay, no. No. Okay. You can know lesson. No. Okay. So practically, most of us are actually new to audit. But the truth about it is that you cannot audit what you don't have an adequate knowledge on. So there are two kind of
Volume went off.
audit. We have horizontal audit, or two. We have witnessing. What are the ways? Horizontal audit and vertical audit. Explain this. Please open your mind. I think a particular. Okay. Okay. So horizontal audit is I can decide to audit a particular department, let's say hematology department. I can decide to say, okay, in the hematology department, I have to audit coagulation. I can say, okay, in histopathology, I want to audit your H&E process. I want to audit cytology. I want to do a particular test, a particular department, a particular process. That's an horizontal audit. Now, a vertical audit is an audit that comprises everything that has to do with associated to the process, from the pre-analytical to the post-analytical. Now, let's say, for example, now I can decide to pick a requisition number or a lab number for a particular test. And let's say the person did chemistry, hematology, maybe microbiology test. So I can say first, I pick a requisition number, a lab number. I can decide now to look at, okay, who collected the sample? Phlebotomy, the phlebotomist. That's where I'm pre-analytical now. Okay, now the person who collected the sample, I'll go and check the personnel record. So vertical audit has to do with auditing all the quality system essentials and auditing all the process from the pre-analytical to the post-analytical and all the quality system essentials. Now, so I can decide to say, okay, who collected the sample? Say John Paul. So I'll go to his file and check. Does John Paul have a vaccine record? Has he been trained to collect sample? Does he have, did he graduate? Did he have the prerequisite educational requirements for collecting a sample? For sample, you understand? Has he signed that SOP for that sample collection? I'll leave that. I'll go to the person who spins it. I'll also do some examination. I will check the temperature of the room in which it was used, in which it was spin. I will check the centrifuge. When last was this centrifuge calibrated? Okay, it was calibrated by engineer John Paul. Okay, engineer James. Does engineer James have the qualification to calibrate that equipment? You see the way the matter is getting long. So now the vertical audit, you leave no stone unturned. Now you leave there, you now go to the analytical aspect. You get it. So, okay, it was run on, okay, you did chemistry test. So I will not check in chemistry. Who is scientist that ran it? Does he have the prerequisite? Does he have a current license? Does at least sign that SOP? At least sign the quality manual? Did he do an EQA program? How is the performance of that EQA for the last 1 month? So I will check everything. That's a vertical audit. I will go to analytical, everything, anything that is accessible. So there is no limitation in vertical audit. Then testing or witness audit is when I will pick a procedure, let's say an HIV test. I remember my first audit, I was asked to do a wither test. Some of you, if I give you a wither test to do now, five or six of you, you're going to give me a different result. Why? Because you don't do it with an SOP. You just do it based on what you know. Some person will write 1/1 to 1/160. Some person will write 1/80. At the end of the day, you see different results in one sample and in one thing. Why? Because so you can do test or witness. So the assessor or the auditor will ask you to run a procedure. We witness it to see how you do it. So you can explain to the auditor what you are doing, or you can just do it while the auditor follows with the SOP to know what if you are doing is in line. Majorly some of all those tests has to do with serology tests, microbiology tests, some of all those tests. So those one, they also use witnessing. So in the complete audit, all these three methods will be used: horizontal audit, vertical audit, examination test, or witnessing audit. Am I communicating? I hope it's interesting. So if you can hear me, type yes, I can hear you. If you can hear me, please type yes, I can hear you. Okay, yes, thank you. Now, there is audit referencing according to the ISO 1599. This slide was prepared for 20. They also have for the 2022. Now, it states that these clauses, it states that the laboratory shall plan and implement the evaluation of internal audit process. So there should be a schedule of an internal audit within the facility to demonstrate that the process, which should be pre-analytical, analytical, and the post-analytical, and other supporting process are being conducted in a manner that meets the need of the requirement of the user. To ensure that there's conformity to quality management system, to ensure that there's continual improvement to the effectiveness of the quality management system. This is what the ISO clause states about what? Audit. So an internal audit aims to assess and plan arrangements for the quality system. Remember, we said this, that this quality system is being implemented effectively and maintained. So it's a means to improve the quality audit. Audit must be scheduled, planned in advance. It must be structured according to the agreed procedure. It must be pre-planned using a pre-prepared checklist. So next is that it has to be independent. So this must not be influenced, simply independent of the area which the auditor works. So you cannot be working in chemistry and be auditing chemistry. It won't work. You can't audit yourself. It has to be objective. Record only substantial evidence. Observe, ask, show me, and confirm. You observe it, you ask, they show you, you confirm it. That is record. Because a lot of person can do a lot of abacadabra doing audit. So next, competence, conductor. You have to train the auditor. Then you have to be restricted to the agreed scope. And the audit must be completed on time with clearance. Let's say, for example, when those non-conformities are raised, they should be cleared in the appropriate time. Sometimes we tell not more than 1 month, sometimes 2 months. You have to clear depending on the severity of the non-conformance. If a non-conformity is raised, non-conformity is the breach in compliance of a particular process or procedures. Now, if a non-conformity is raised and the lab refuses to clear the non-conformance, it's a major issue. But it is a major issue for you and audit non-conformance to be audited, and you are still finding one thing, show that you are not improving. So when you want to do an audit program as a quality manager, you have to establish the audit program, plan, do, check, and act. Implement the audit program is to do it. Monitor the review of the audit program. But one of the things an external auditor will act is first, you want to see what's your plan, your internal audit plan, and what is the audit that was done, what's the record, was the audit declared. Is a part of it, assessment that is part of what is to be assessed. improve the audit that is planned. Now, there's what we call lead auditor criteria. In every audit system, there's what we call lead auditor. The team lead. So for the team lead, the team leader needs to be able to plan audit, effectively communicate with auditee, the people you are auditing. So you cannot just be auditing and just be doing like as if you are talking to yourself. You should be able to communicate appropriately. Organize and direct the audit team members. Lead team in reaching conclusion. Prevent and resolve conflict. Because sometimes in audit, sometimes it can even result to almost like conflict. No, we have this. No, we are doing it. The auditor say, no, I can't see. This is not, the evidence is not strong enough. You can see issues. So as a lead auditor, you should be able to prevent and resolve conflict. Then as a lead auditor, you should be able to coach auditors in training, consolidate team input and prepare great reports. You should be able to prepare a report at the end of the audit process. So auditing, reporting, during and after auditing, you have to report. Then you have to classify the non-conformers into major non-conformers and minor non-conformers. So when we say major non-conformers, this is the conformer that has to do that can affect the patient care or safety. Those two things are major non-conformers. Anything that has the ability to affect patient outcome. So let's say, for example, now you do not do QC and you run a test. Can it affect the patient outcome? Yes, it can. So it's a major non-conformer if such a thing is raised. Anything that has to do with safety, anything that has to do with affecting patient outcome, giving a wrong result is a major non-conformance. The minor non-conformance are things that do not directly affect the patient care. You get me? Also, are not related to safety issues. We have major non-conformance and minor non-conformance. Completing a non-conformance report, you need to write the laboratory that is assessed, the area that is assessed. You don't just write a report. So if you are assessing chemistry lab, you say chemistry lab, so and so area of chemistry lab, then certify assessor, the person responsible. Person responsible is the person you are auditing, or the person who is responsible for that department, the signature, the observation. What is your observation? Oh, as at the time of audit, it was discovered that 2(1)(s) rule was violated on so and so day. That is a observation. Then you classify the non-conformers. Is it major or normal? Then you write the paragraph that is relevant to the standard. So which of the paragraph was violated? Oh, clause 4.1.2 was violated. That's to be written down. Then the root cause analysis, corrective actions, and follow-up of confirmation, they have to be done. Please look at this slide effectively. Standard audit report and plan of action. Auditor closing summary. So when they are doing an audit, majorly there's usually an opening meeting and a closing meeting. The opening meeting tells what is to be done, what process, how the audit will go on. Closing meeting now share the team lead auditor will now share his findings and everything and be able to close the meeting. After the audit, there should be a follow-up of the audit report. Clearance of the non-conformance major. So from the auditor, so you have to file out a report. From the auditee, you have to clear the non-conformance. All audit reports should be cleared within 1 month. That's our recommendation. If not possible, the facility or the lab must apply for extension within 7 to 14 days. Let's say, for example, now, an equipment is down and it was raised as a non-conformance. And maybe to take them to get a part, maybe 2 months to get that part to do. That may not be able. So you have to write to the auditor or to the people who audit you. You say, okay, we're not able to clear this non-conformance for so and so. We're asking for an extension. So how many of us have heard about the sleep time checklist? Sleep time checklist is an WHO checklist that helps to stepwise improve the quality of an organization. So according to that checklist, all document and record, we have about 12 sections: document and record, management review, organization and personnel, client management and customer service, equipment, internal audit, purchase, process control, information management, corrective action, occurrence management and process improvement, we have facility and safety. These are the scores that are attached to them. The maximum score you can get using this Slipper checklist. This is one of the most common in that we use. So see, these are the scores that are, so for facility and safety, you can score a total of 43 points for a maximum of 43 points and the rest. So if your facility and safety is not strong, definitely it's total score of 258. So according to the Slipper audit checklist, now this is what we call the 5-star tiered approach. So if you score 0 to 142 out of the 258 points, you have no star. So that if you score 55%, you have no star. So if you're able to score 143 points to 165 points, that's 55% to 64%, you have 1 star. That's how it is: 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star. That's how the rating is. So when you are done with this 5-star, according to this approach, you can now formally apply for accreditation. You can apply for accreditation. Then they'll come to do assessment. You fill it in. They'll raise the non-conformance for you. You clear it, and they come again to do the final assessment. Am I communicating? Okay, so you have read about Slipper. Yes. These are the 5-tier stars of Slipper that we use. So in conclusion, laboratory audit is a systematic and objective examination to determine if the quality activities and the results comply with an agreed standard. Remember that the quality of results is the product of the lab. So, and we said we have to give a result that is quality. And what defines the quality of any laboratory result? The accuracy, reliability, and the timeliness. These are 3 things that define the quality of any lab result. I remember that the result is our final product. So it has to be quality. Let's say, for example, now, I've given a non-conformance to a lab. They do everything well, but again, the final product, like the paper that goes to the client or the patient, the ink is not showing well, it's not aligned. You see, you can hardly read it, just like when you photocopy something. You cannot do this. Why? Because this is the only thing the client goes on with. So it has to be well. It has to be delivered. It has to, even though the right result is there, but it has to be legible. It doesn't have to be like something they squeeze or they used to eat akara paper. Am I communicating? So all the laboratories should establish an internal audit program conducted on a regular basis. It will provide information for continuous improvement. All laboratories should aim in getting national and international accreditation. Problems or challenges should become opportunities for improvement. My recommendation is that every facility, you must have at least 1 audit every year. At least, what is the minimum requirement? For a growing lab or for a growing organization that wants to meet with some accreditation, you can increase it to 2 or 3, but minimum 1. So the question is that when was the last time was your lab audited? When was the last time was your lab audited or your department audited? If you are not auditing it, my friend, you guys are playing. You are not doing quality there. That's the reason why these things are essential for us to know what we need to do. You just hold on. If you have a question, 1 minute. If you have a question, you can type on the chat box. Just give me 2 minutes, please.